Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of the Final Fantasy Legend 2. When we last left off, we just made some progress into the final dungeon. The final dungeon is the home to the final Magi. That path over to the left just leads to a dead end. But a lot happened in our last episode, so here's a quick recap. Turns out that Apollo wasn't really a good guy after all. And he basically captured a lot of our friends that we met throughout our adventure. Anthony, Flora, Taro, Hannah, Key, and Lynn, and basically threatened them with harm unless we gave him all our Magi. So we gave him all our Magi, but another thing that happened was we found out that while we gave him all our Magi, so Apollo had 77, the statue of the gods is actually made up of 78 Magi. So, and we learned that from our father, Linus's dad here, who wasn't killed by that ninja back in the monster world. After all, he basically said that, hey, the rumor that there's 77 Magi make up the statue of the goddess Isis, well, no, that's not true, and it's just a lie that the Guardians spread to protect the Magi from being misused. So we have to head on into this dungeon and grab the final Magi. Gotta hurry up and do it as quick as we can because Apollo plans on using all the Magi, and we don't know what that will do for, the world, but even if it doesn't do anything for the world, it would give Apollo a lot of power, and, well, Apollo's a bad guy. He only wants bad people to have a lot of power, so. Now, even though Dad kind of said that, hey, we need to hurry up and do this, once again, there's no time limit on this. You can take as long as you want, building up stats if you want. Take as many trips as you need to get in and out of the final dungeon, so. But, yeah. So we'll we'll be doing a little bit of that, not leaving the final dungeon, but we'll be trying to, maybe extend some of these battles a little bit to try to gain some stats. I mean, we could have probably one-shot at this battle. Well, we would have been able to one-shot it if Honey Mouse threw the Gungnir spear, or we could have just had Dad use the Volcan, and then have either P followed up with Thunder, or Vincent followed up with one of his spells. So, but we'll just we'll take our time here and extend the battle a little bit, like I said, in the hopes that we can gain some more stats. So, well, we're almost at the end. So, yeah, if you didn't go through the nasty dungeon, you'd probably be gaining a lot of stats here too. But because we went through the nasty dungeon, well, stats may slow down a little bit, but that's because we've already fought all the monsters we can encounter here in this dungeon, in the nasty dungeon. On floors 6, 7, and 8, they had similar enemies, so the only one that really wasn't on that floor, but we fought here quite a few times, was the nymph monster, the kind of the strong fairy monster. So, alrighty. There's some of those ice crabs. P was an ice crab not too long ago, but now he is the king crab. So P will not have to eat any more meat until we run into those special mini bosses on the way to the final area in the game. So doing so will allow P to eventually evolve into the final crab form, the Dagon. But all this meat, right? If we eat any meat right now, he'll just stay at the strongest monster class. So, yeah, at some points, you could eat meat, and it would lower your class down. So, say you were say a class 6 monster. Sometimes, depending on the meat you ate, you might drop down to like a class 5 or a class 4. However, once you become like the top in the top monster transformation, so the 4th level, any meat that you eat, even if it's from like a level 1 monster, you will still maintain that in that fourth form of whatever monster you turn into. So you don't have to worry about your monster getting much weaker from eating much weaker meat once you hit the level 4 transformation. Push the cure book up a little bit more. That's another, we mainly gave the Hakate boots to Dad so they can deal more damage against the bosses. We actually fight 2 bosses with Dad. The boss of this dungeon, and we'll eventually fight Apollo. So having Dad with the Hakate boots allows him to do a lot more damage with his flares, with the flare book that we also gave him. But another side effect of having those Hakate boots is he also will heal more hit points when he uses the cure spell or the heal rod. So that one piece of equipment made Dad so much better. So there was no use of like I said, no point in really using it on any of our characters. We want them to we don't want to slow their growth down, their natural stat growth, by artificially inflating their stats through equipment. So now we did make one exception with that. Vincent, he has that power suit on, and that gave him plus 15 strength, plus 15 agility, but his agility's fine. Mainly, and the strength, of course, we're not worried about strength. So speaking of agility, Vincent just got some agility right there. So even though Vincent got that plus 15, remember, mutants gain stats slower than humans do. So even with that plus 15 ability, he's probably on par agility-wise with what Linus is. I'd have to check, but so it shouldn't slow down his growth too much. Just having that extra 15 agility. It's not super duper game breaking, so. Take a quick step away from the microphone there for a little second here. I'm watching my little ratties here at the same time, and my little princess had to go to the bathroom, so. Right on, Dad. Well, that's okay. Just have to change my pants then, and so. But it's okay, Princess. Yeah, we'll forgive her. She's an old lady. She's at least 3 years, 2 months. So that's almost like 95 in human years. So spoiling her and all the critters up. So got a bunch of senior citizens here. Still waiting to get my rat wheelchairs. There's a rescue up in Maine that makes wheelchairs for rats. So we've got our second power suit. That'll eventually go on to Linus. I'm not going to equip it now because we don't want to artificially inflate, once again, Linus's stats. So strength, not too worried about, but of course the agility, we're still working on Linus's agility, so we'll keep it off. So he'll have a little less lower defense, of course, but he will have a better chance, like I said, to gain stats, and the other bonuses that the power suit gives, he's getting that through the dragon mail. The strong against ice, fire, lightning, and poison or gas attacks. So, but that'll be his endgame armor. So, yeah, when I do the post-game little episode, see all the max stats and all. So, well, these guys seem to use their defense ability a lot when they're down by themselves. So I wonder if they're like programmed to do that. If the enemy AI says, you know, if the thing is, you know, by itself, then use defense more often. So, like I said, it seem to be using their defense ability quite a bit when they're down by themselves. Of course, once we switch to Dad to use his gun to get through that defense, it switches. And that's Honey Mouse. Take it out with one hit. So, oh. Once again, we're gonna head over to the right here, pick up some treasure before we head to the left. And what do we got in this box? Another tent. So, we already got a tent earlier. We bought one in the town, but we'll probably end up having to use at least one of those tents before this dungeon is over, before the boss. And we're definitely going to want a lot of tents when we go down to the final area in the game, so. Especially if I'm using a lot of tents when I do the eventual grinding. Not that I'll be doing that grinding on screen. That was pretty neat. I always thought the Cockatrice's Petrify ability was a spell, but it's not. It's a melee attack. Because you see, we got the message there that Honey Mouse defended against Petrify. There it is again with Defend. So, I figured it'd be like a magical-based attack, like how you know, Medusa and a Gaze of Stone. But I guess it's like I said, obviously it's a melee attack. So, wonder what maybe it's like if he pecks you with his beak or hits you with his claws that like has some like bacteria or germs on it that turn you into stone. Ooh, that would be scary. I thought COVID was scary. Wow, can you imagine if there was a disease that was going around that turned you into stone? Yeah, COVID's no joke. I actually had it, even though I'm fully vaccinated. So it knocked me out for about 2 weeks. So wasn't able to go to the gym for almost a month. So not good, but yeah, even though I was fully vaccinated, I still got it. But you know, the good thing is they say that, you know, the because I was fully vaccinated, I didn't have to go to the hospital or get on any machinery like ventilators. I just had to heal up with bed rest and Tylenol for the muscle aches. You know, I totally forgot if I got that chest or not, so better to recheck just to be safe. This could be a deadly thing here. Cockroaches turn you into stone. Get rid of them as quick as possible. And those nymphs have a lot of dangerous spells. Maybe peek and paralyze one. Nope. Doh. Let's hope we get that paranail off and paralyze the entire group, but we missed. So that's a good way to crowd control with P there. P can paralyze a group, and then that lets you take your time finishing off the enemies, trying to build up those stats. Linus is almost close to his max hit points. And Vincent, he's stalled on his hit point growth. But that's why we put him in the back. So, enemies, of course, target characters in the front more than ones in the back. I don't know if it's the same percentages in the original Final Fantasy, where it's half the attacks go against the character in the first slot, then 25% in character number in the second slot, and then the third and fourth characters are about 12.5. So I say about 12.5 because I think the actual code, it's very close. It's like the character in number 3 slot gets like 13.1%, and then the character in slot 4 gets 11.9. But you know, for all intents and purposes, it's basically, you know, 1/8 for the third and the fourth character to get targeted, and then 1/4 for the second character, and then half for the first. So yeah, I'll be eventually playing Final Fantasy again, redoing that Let's Play. So we're doing actually twice. The plan is I will have the first playthrough will be of once again with Marty Mouse, and the 3 rats that followed after him: Fibs, Wibbly, and Milo. And then the remaining 2 classes that they're not going to be the fighters and the thieves. I will do a second playthrough with the new Mighty Mouse House rats. There's 4 of them. So Albert, Bees, Chip, and Nichols. So this way we'll get to see all of the classes in Final Fantasy 1. Normally, because you can only go through when you play through, you have 4 characters, but there's 6 classes. So this is a really interesting room. I say interesting because I mean, well, there's not really much going on in it. It's just a small, tiny room. But the first time I played through this game, I didn't find the secret chest that's back here. But I did end up coming back here and doing some grinding. And of course, you always find interesting things when you're grinding. So for whatever reason, I was just wandering around this maze, this dungeon. And I was like, what's this? For some reason, I just saw these little, like, the openings on the side there. And I was like, I wonder what's over in here. Or I wonder if there's something over here. And I bumped in there, and lo and behold, there's a little passageway back this way. And this is definitely a passageway that you do not want to miss. Because back here is basically the best weapon in the game. So I will describe it when we get it. Because we're very close. Just gotta finish off this group of enemies. There we go. Ooh, we got a free mage staff. What's in here? The Excalibur! So, King Arthur had to pull Excalibur from the stone to prove that he was the rightful king. So his possession of that sword showed that he was king. Our possession of this sword shows that we just basically explored the final dungeon. But I say this is basically the best weapon in the game because, one, even if you don't have, it's a strength-based weapon, but even if you don't have a lot of strength, it's has the same properties as the Gungnir, where that it does a whole lot of damage. It just even if you have below 70 strength, and it does extra bonus damage when you have strength above 70. So even if you have like no strength at all, or just the starting strength, you'll still be able to pretty much one-shot groups of enemies with it because it has that really built-in damage formula. It deals a lot of damage. It's also like Gungnir in that it does not miss. So yeah, even if you have no agility, you could slap that on a character and it'll hit all the time. So basically it's like the Gungnir in pretty much every regard, except for the one thing that makes it better than the Gungnir. It has no durability counter on it. So yeah, that it just has a little line there. So yeah, it's infinite. The sword will never break. So that's the weapon that I'll be using when it comes time to grind up Linus's strength score during the off-screen grind. So, because once again, it's a strength weapon and it'll never run out. So, you never have to worry about buying any weapons for Linus when I have to worry about building up his strength. So, if only you could have more of them. So, actually, in the DS remake, you can actually have more of them. So, in that game, one thing you can do is once you beat, there's a merchant, a certain merchant, and you can give him items during a playthrough, and then after you beat the game, you can replay the game again, and that merchant will if you use the same slot, the same slave slot, the merchant, when you visit him, he'll have anything that you gave him from the last playthrough for sale. So you can hold up to 8 items, so theoretically you can have 9 Excaliburs if you want. Got another nuke bomb. We already seen what that does, so we'll probably just waste that on some random big group of enemies. Oh, running out of... See the Excalibur there? No durability. So, endless. Makes me think of there's an old whatchamacallit, old Choose Your Own Adventure books. I know when I was a little kid, I used to like get them at the library, and I forget which one what it was called, but you had like two options. You can be a wizard or a warrior. And so you played the book twice. For those who don't know what Choose Your Own Adventure books are, they're basically like a book, and you choose actions in the book. So like you'll be on page 1, and tell you, give you part of a story, and then it will end the paragraph with, or the section with, do you want to do A or do you want to do B? And then it'll tell you where to go to. So it's like, if you want to do A, go to section 89. If you want to do B, go to section 300. So. But there was one was with you could be a wizard or a warrior, and the warrior you could choose. With the wizard, you could choose your spells that you wanted to take. The warrior got to choose like different weapons. And one of the weapons the weapon that he came equipped with always was the Sword of the Golden Lion. It was made by the same people who made Excalibur, the legend said. And it said it had engraved on its blade forever, so it would never break. So, kind of like the Excalibur in this game, it would never break. Uh-oh, we got this long, long hallway here, and it's narrowing out, it's tapering out toward the end here. Something special there. Yep, it's a boss monster. So, let's use up that final karate ability there from that Linus just passed down to Honey Mouse. Get another free agility boost for Honey Mouse there, and some extra hit points. Even though Honey Mouse right now has the 999 hit points displayed, she actually has more than that, so I don't know what the max amount of hit points you can theoretically get, so like I said, with your stats it's up to 255, and then when it hits 256 it rolls back over to 0. That's because of the sprite, the byte limit. Like a byte, I think, can hold 256 pieces of information, so it just rewrites it. Maybe the max amount of hit points is like the max amount of gold in Dragon Warrior, and that number is 65,535. That's also the limit of gold in that game too, so it must be something with that number in computer programming. So I don't know much about computers and programming. I did a little bit of coding and stuff like that when I was in high school, but not much to be an expert. So I can't tell you much about how computers or robot works, but I can tell you how to destroy robots in our next episode when we take on that robotic boss. Take care, have a good day. Bye.